Take it away.
Yeah, we're going to start in the third round with Zachariah Branch from Georgia. Listen, he's a diminutive slot. In college, they use him on a lot of gadget plays, screens, reverses, passes behind the line of scrimmage. But his speed and quickness, I think, translates to the ability to beat man-to-man. And when you get down to the Falcons, whether they have, whatever quarterback they go with, the ability to get instant offense is going to be paramount for them. And I think Zachariah Branch is a guy who's going to pop on the radar very early and often, and particularly end up being a household name in Atlanta.
Ooh, household name in Atlanta. Atlanta Falcons. I have not been able to talk much about you recently, and you know I want to. I think that the Falcons draft definitely went, underrated, and the Falcons as a whole. I know a lot of people are pretty high on the Panthers right now, and even the Saints. And you almost forget a lot of the moves that the Falcons have made, and they hired a new coach, and they're making moves, and blah 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 blah. And yet it's not really being discussed or broken down that much, and I want to do that right now. But before I go any further, Atlanta Falcons fans, please do not forget to subscribe and watch the full length of the video. When you guys do that, views go through the roof, subscribers go through the roof, and it's not about just chasing views, it's not about chasing subscribers, it's about creating Atlanta Falcons content that people genuinely want to watch, that they genuinely want to discuss. Honestly, you guys always do such an awesome job. I can't make as much Falcons content as I would like because there's only so much out there, so I try my best to make as much as I can, and when I do, you guys absolutely positively show up and rise to the occasion, and so I really can't thank you enough for that. And all I can ask is that you guys please keep doing it. I'm trying really hard to try to get as many subscribers as I can, until the beginning of this season and the next 4 months, cause I'm trying so hard to elevate the floor of this channel more than anything. So, please do consider subscribing. But, yeah. I mean, listen. He brings up behind the line of scrimmage passes, and like you guys all know, that's my heart right there. That is my heart. Having the shorter easier passes right, these high percentage passes, like they just have such, snorts, profound impacts on your offense and on your team. I've been going through a lot of this data recently because, I've been debating a lot of people about the Kansas City Chiefs in the comments section. And so I was crunching some numbers from like last season and comparing like Rashee Rice to Quinton with the Chargers, and Dobbs with the Packers, and when I'm going through some of the data, and because someone's trying to argue like, oh, he's having greater average depth of target, and he's getting more yards per reception, and like so it's more efficient than this, and it's just like it's so misguided and misunderstood, because when you look at Rashee Rice he was able to get as many catches, essentially, as those other guys, and he only played like 8 games. And yes, he had less yards and was getting less yards per reception, but when you equalize it over a 17-game season he was going to blow them away with total yards and production touchdowns, and his average depth of target was shorter, he was more open, and he was getting M. Or YAC. And so you're literally so in order to get less production, Justin Herbert and Jordan Love have to make more difficult throws, not only more difficult throws, but more dangerous throws, and get less production overall than what Rice was able to get with Mahomes and Andy making easier throws, more high percentage throws, less risky throws. And it's like that's the power that you can bring to the table with these types of players and with this type of offense. And so it's just like when I see a prospect like this, it's just I get super excited because I just know what it can do for your offense when used correctly. But you can see that the Atlanta Falcons got a B- grade, like, oh, no, B-. This is where you're going to learn Stefanski's value right now. Stefanski comes in, and they clearly went more focus on defense. They're clearly like, let's go in defense. And they did a lot of that last year as well, with obviously some of the trades and the 2 first-round picks that they made last year and whatnot. And listen, there's still kind of some of the off-the-field issues. I don't know how that's all going to necessarily unfold. It seems like he's actually getting, a pretty good situation. What that actually looks like in the NFL, like I don't know. Those are different conversations, but we know that this offense had a lot of juice and was a mess last year. But still had a lot of juice and still had, a lot of production there, And so there wasn't necessarily this great big grand addition that you needed, but I still do really like the value pick branch there and what Stefanski can do, but this is where you really learn of just like, okay. These are the conclusions that, Stefanski and this front office came to and, there's a lot of trust in Stefanski being able to I don't even want to say elevate the offense, but just make the offense more consistent. And listen, a lot of that is also going to come down to who the heck is the quarterback. What's the story here? But it's like I was watching some film of Tua the other day. I was going through it cause I was looking trying to highlight some things that Mike McDaniel what his offenses can do, and it's just like Tua is a real like Tua has been such a weird quarterback because it's just like when he seems locked in and focused and at his best, like he is wildly accurate. I mean, like he is wildly accurate. And I'm excited at the idea of what Tua will be able to bring to this offense with Stefanski. And again, I'm not selling my stock on Penix either. I just don't know if he's healthy yet, right? So it's just like it's always frustrating when you're in a situation like the Falcons are in, and it's just like, I don't know where my mind can go. I can't put all my support in any direction because I don't know what the story is. It's one thing if this was just a pure quarterback battle and both quarterbacks were 100% healthy, it's like that's a different path. But it's just like I don't know in terms about health and how quickly up to speed Penix is going to be able to brought in. This is now going to be a new system for Penix. Tua is more at this point like a legitimate veteran. He's going to be ahead of Penix just by virtue of him being a veteran. Now, I just kind of discussed this at the whole thing with Deion Sanders and Shiloh Sanders in another video about that, so like it would make sense that Tua would have a head start here. So it wouldn't really surprise me at all if it's just like Tua is the quarterback right now, right? Tua is the safer day one starter. Man, to be honest, I really like that. I mean, at this point, because it's funny you can even say how when they're talking about him, where he's an open field playmaker who can do much more than Georgia's offense allowed him to show. And when you think about it, the Atlanta Falcons have a lot of playmakers right now. They have a lot of big play potential. They have a lot of big play potential here. They have they are someone to keep on the radar for being in top of the NFL in explosive plays here. And they can both do it on the ground and in the air. And again, we saw what Tua when Tua had that around him with Mike McDaniel, like we saw the big play there as well. We saw the eruption of what an offense can look like when the right pieces were there and the right coach was there with Tua. Like we saw we had concrete evidence of it. So that prospect here and the great thing, too, is, being in Atlanta it's like your dome's in warm weather, right? Saints Bucks obviously Atlanta, Carolina like you're in a nice little comfy little setting here. That was not necessarily the story in Miami. You had Miami, obviously, but then you had Buffalo, New York, New England, right? There's a lot of other things to factor. Yeah. Tampa Bay gets hot. Tua can handle that. So, yeah. I think this division is such a sneaky competitive division right now. I honestly really do feel great about the Carolina Panthers. I really do feel I don't want to necessarily say I feel great about the Saints, but I feel optimistic cause I am a believer in Kellen Moore, and I do think year 2 with him and Tyler will be I think he really impressed me as a quarterback, and I'm excited to see what Stefanski looks like after leaving the crushing rule of the chaos and nonsense of the Cleveland Browns, So, and I don't think the Bucks are going to be falling off a cliff. I mean, guys, it depends on really who bake. Our Mayfield is as a quarterback at heart, but I think there's still plenty of juice there with Baker in that offense. And if they made the right hire from a coordinating standpoint, then at the bare minimum will be competitive, right? I don't think they're going to be some, 3-win team now. So, I think this division is very much up for grabs. I understand why the Carolina Panthers are still kind of field position to kind of do it, but I just honestly I think it's actually wide open. I do think it's open. Like I said, I think it's fair that the Panthers are positioned to kind of repeat, but, I think if Tua gets settled with the Atlanta Falcons and Stefanski just makes the offense consistent, if it's consistent, then their ability to really utilize some of the big play potential, I don't know, man. Like that is how you come away with some wins in some of the weird random games you have. And then that's also how you come away with wins against the teams that you feel that you're punching above your weight. We saw exactly against the the Los Angeles Rams and the Buffalo Bills. We saw that exactly. It's like when you could just kind of be a little bit consistent and leave the door open for some of these big explosive plays, it becomes impossible to stop. It becomes impossible to stop. We saw that. We had front row seats to it. We're just like, man, as long as you're not having the floor collapse from you, if you just kind of keep things within striking distance, and the big play breaks, you're as dangerous and as deadly as anyone else out there. So we saw it, we saw it in real time. So, yeah, the Atlanta Falcons stabilizing the offense allows it to explode in a lot of ways. So, be on the lookout. Those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Atlanta Falcons? How do you feel about a move like that or a draft pick like this and just their draft overall? Definitely going under the radar, definitely not really being discussed and definitely not being praised as a great draft or an up-and-coming team, but let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. So, whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get into some discussions. Let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're all on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.